Kings and Courage. David, Elijah and God's Brave Heroes****. Part 1. David and Goliath, the boy who faced a giant. The sun burned hot over the valley of Elah, where the armies of Israel stood trembling. Across the field, the Philistines jeered and shouted, their armor glinting in the light. But one man stood taller than all the rest, a giant named Goliath, his bronze helmet gleaming, his spear as thick as a tree branch. Israel. Goliath's voice boomed like thunder. Send out one man to fight me. If he wins, we'll be your slaves. But if I win, you will be ours. The Israelite soldiers clutched their swords, their hearts pounding. King Saul, the tallest among them, frowned. No one dared to step forward. Then, from the back of the camp, a young voice piped up. I'll fight him. Heads turned. A boy stood there, red-haired, sunburned, holding nothing but a shepherd's staff and a sling. His name was David. King Saul's brow furrowed. You're just a boy. Goliath has been a warrior since his youth. David didn't flinch. Your Majesty, when I was watching my father's sheep, a lion and a bear tried to attack them. I went after them, struck them down, and rescued the lambs. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine. Saul hesitated, then nodded. Go then, and may the Lord be with you. The king tried to give David his own armor, a heavy bronze helmet, a thick coat of mail. But David shook his head. I can't fight in these. I'm not used to them. Instead, he picked up 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream and placed them in his shepherd's pouch. Then, sling in hand, he walked toward the giant. Goliath took one look at him and laughed a deep, mocking sound. Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks? He cursed David by his gods. Come here, and I'll feed your flesh to the birds. David didn't run. He didn't even flinch. You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel. He reached into his pouch, pulled out a single stone, and loaded it into his sling. With one smooth motion, he swung it once, twice, and thwack. The stone struck Goliath square in the forehead. The giant's eyes rolled back. He swayed, then crashed face-first into the dirt. Silence. Then roar. The Israelite army erupted in cheers. The Philistines turned and fled. David had done it. Not with an army. Not with a sword. But with faith as small as a stone and a God as big as the sky. Part 2. Elijah and the Fire from Heaven. Years later, another battle raged, not against a giant, but against a lie. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel ruled Israel, and they had led the people into worshipping a false god named Baal. They built altars. They sacrificed. They even killed the prophets of the true God. Only one man stood against them, Elijah, a wild-haired prophet who wore a cloak of animal skins. He marched straight to Ahab's palace and declared, As the Lord lives, the God of Israel whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain except at my word. And just like that, the skies dried up. No rain. No crops. A famine gripped the land. 3 years later, Elijah returned. Gather all Israel at Mount Carmel, he told Ahab. Bring the 450 prophets of Baal. We'll settle this today. The people gathered, curious and afraid. Elijah stood before them, bold as ever. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him. Then came the challenge. 2 altars were built. 2 bulls prepared. The prophets of Baal would call on their God. Elijah would call on his. The God who answers with fire, he is the real God. The Baal prophets went first. They danced. They chanted. They even cut themselves with knives, begging their God to respond. Nothing happened. Elijah smirked. Shout louder. Maybe he's asleep. Or traveling. Still nothing. Then it was Elijah's turn. He didn't dance. He didn't scream. He simply rebuilt the Lord's altar with 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel. He dug a trench around it. Then he did something crazy. Bring 4 large jars of water, he ordered. The people gasped. Water was precious in a drought. But Elijah didn't stop at one. He had them pour 12 jars until the altar was soaked, the wood dripping, the trench filled. Then he prayed. Just one sentence. Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God. Fire blasted from the sky. It consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones. It licked up every drop of water in the trench. The people fell face down, crying out, "The Lord, He is God." And with that, the rains returned. Part 3. Elisha's miracles, seeing the invisible. Elijah's time was ending. His student, Elisha, would carry on his work with even greater wonders. When Elijah was taken to heaven in a whirlwind, his cloak fell to the ground. Elisha picked it up, walked to the Jordan River, and struck the water. "Where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah," he called. The river split in two, just as it had for Elijah. Elisha's miracles didn't stop there. A poison stew? He threw in flour, and it became safe to eat. A lost axe head? He made it float in water. An invisible army? When enemies surrounded the city, Elisha's servant panicked until Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord." Suddenly, the servant saw the mountains covered in chariots of fire. God's power wasn't just for the past.
It was real right then.
Part 4. Kings who forgot, and why it matters. Not every king remembered God's power. Solomon, the wisest man alive, married foreign wives who led him into idol worship. Rehoboam, his son, ignored wise advice and lost half his kingdom. Ahab let Jezebel kill God's prophets until Elijah stood alone.
Why?
Because faith isn't a one-time victory. It's a daily choice. Your turn. What will you choose? David faced a giant. Elijah stood alone. Elisha saw the unseen. What about you? When fear shouts, will you trust? When others doubt, will you stand? When the world says impossible, will you believe? The battle isn't yours, it's the Lord's. And He always wins.